You guys can stop asking me that question in my comments. I typically delete them because I didn't want to address it. Sorry if you thought it was going to be rainbow sunshine and always agreeing with each other, but it's not.
Subscribe your channel.
We could be everything, anything that we see we could be. We could be everything that we want.
You know what's something very interesting that happens to me is when I dream, sometimes I dream of things that I don't actually know what they mean in real life or the depth of it in real life. I'll give you an example. Sometimes I'll hear or use a specific word in my dreams, and in the dream I know what it means, but when I wake up I'm like, wait a minute, does that word mean that? Because like I may or may not have heard the word before, or I may have some semblance of an understanding, but I always question myself in the dream because of how it rolled out of my mouth or how I heard it and completely understood, that I'll wake up and I will look at the definition of that word and my mind is consistently blown at the fact that that word will completely apply to whatever it was I was dreaming, but in a way that I would not think about or even think to use it in my waking life. A better example would be, I'm trying to discern if I should say this or not. Because of the nature of the word, I'm not going to say it, but what I will say is this. I had a dream where I had used some legal terminology. Have I heard of that legal jargon or terminology before? Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things we've all heard of it. But did I know in depth what the law was behind that particular term? No. And so when I used that term in the dream, because I was advising somebody legally, I woke up and thought to myself, why did I say that like that? Is that really what that means? So I got up, looked up the word, and realized I used it in its complete and total accuracy and context to a point that it kind of weirded me out. And I shouldn't even feel that way because, this happens to me all the time. This is not new to me. I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. This happens to me all the time. But it never ceases to amaze me the amount of knowledge God could literally place in your brain to know, even though you've never studied it. This particular thing, I did not know. The way it just fell out of my mouth so effortlessly, only for me to wake up and realize what it meant was actually what I said in depth, in full context, in totality. My mind was blown. And so I'm looking at that dream right now, and I'm really trying to figure out what God is trying to say to me, because it's the second time in a week I've had a dream where somebody is trying to do the same thing, but it's the same thing, different font, So it's I'm being shown the same thing in a few different ways. Actually, three times now. Actually, 3 times. So I know that a point is trying to be driven home to me. I'm just trying to figure out what it is. I think I might know, just based on how specific my prayers have been lately, but it's just one of those things that you really just don't know until you do know. It's a very interesting thing, being able to dream, being able to know things and you have no idea. I mean, I know how I know them, but you know what I mean? You have no idea how you know them. There is no logic behind how you know it. You just know. It can be very isolating and it can feel very lonely because you just can't talk to everybody about it and everybody doesn't understand. And there are some people who will become fearful of you because of it or hide from you because of it. Do you know how many people over the years, but most specifically in the last 3.5 years, I have had people outright hide from me, as if just simply being around me, I'm gonna like know things they don't want me to know. And it doesn't exactly work like that, but you can sense when somebody is trying to avoid you because they don't want you to see something about them. It's a very strange feeling to discern that people are low-key nervous around you or even slightly uneasy around you. It's not fun. It's not fun. I've been told a lot that I can be intimidating. I don't know. I'm being so vague. I'm just talking. I should probably turn the camera off. But it's just very interesting, like how people perceive and judge and critique and try to figure you out. And it's like, baby, I'm still figuring me out. You definitely are not about to figure me out, because I'm still figuring me out, you know? Here's what we're gonna do. I just posted a YouTube short to you guys at the time of me like filming. And in that YouTube short, I told you guys to ask me anything. I'll be answering your questions today. We'll see how many of you guys actually see it and ask questions. I feel like I do these where I'm telling you guys to ask questions and you guys don't really be asking that much. I don't know if you're scared to ask me or y'all just know what you need to know. But if you have any questions, you know, you can leave them in this video, because if enough people don't see this in time, but you guys really have questions that you want to know, leave them in the comments and I will try to answer them in the next video. But for now, I'm gonna finish my Bible study, finish my coffee, and then we need to get this house in order, spiritually and physically, so to speak. I'm reading Vogue, British Vogue at that, and some of the ads in here for these outfits are vintage archival pieces. Like, I love this right here. It's by Junya Watanabe, and this is from Autumn Winter 2006. So it's just under vintage. Next year it'll be considered vintage officially at 20 years. But there are some other really cool pieces in here, like this Alexander McQueen Autumn Winter 2000s patchwork jacket right here. And in the footnotes, it says, consider a patchwork jacket your one-way ticket to casual yet directional cool. And it's so interesting to me because I just recently got in my Poshmark haul, if you guys missed it, a patchwork type jacket. And it's very bright, vibrant red by Judith Roberts. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. Because I love stuff like that, statement jacket with just like jeans and sneakers. And I definitely am going to wear it with my Zebra Puma Speed Cats, baggy jeans, white t-shirt or white tank top. And it just looks, you know, like you tried, but it is effortless. I also really love the brand Dune London, and I'm looking at this bag and I'm about to see how much this bag costs because I love it. It definitely gives Chanel vibes, but Chanel is just not made anymore like it used to be. And the only way I would buy Chanel at this point is buying vintage. I don't know that I have it in me, even if I had the money to buy Chanel brand new. I can't do it. I can't do it. Trends. The whole entire world is run and consumed by things in these magazines, and it's just so wild because I understand the appeal. Even for me, it's hard to say no sometimes because I look at fashion as such an expression of art. I look at clothing items as color pencils, crayons, and markers, and construction paper and gemstones and cotton balls and Q-tips and popsicle sticks, and I try to use all of it to create a beautiful picture that has meaning behind it. So for me, although from the outside it could look very materialistic from the outside looking in, internally I just care about good quality art supplies I really do want a pair of skinny flares, is what we used to call them back in 2000 and like 2010, 11, 12. I worked at a designer clothing boutique, and J Brand used to make these really cool skinny flares, is what they were called back then. And they were called a skinny flare and not a bell bottom because they were like skinny jeans all the way down to the knees, and then they just kind of like flared out. And for me, that is my favorite silhouette of, or one of my favorite silhouette of jeans. Now I love a good baggy 90s fit. I love a good barrel jean. I even like a good wide leg, but I love skinny flare, and they're so hard to find now. I've been all over trying to find a skinny flare, and I found one in the thrift store a couple days ago, actually, when I was with my mom. However, I was like so on the fence about getting them because I noticed like a little stain, and it looked like a stain that was not gonna come out. I just felt like, I feel like I could do better. So I'm on the hunt for a skinny flare. We'll see if I can accomplish it, but I've been really trying to get back into old Jill, like old Jill's fashion taste and style. There's just certain aspects of old Jill style that I still love. Like, girl, why you don't do that no more? So we're about to take it back a little bit. When I was thrifting, maybe 2 weeks ago, I came across 2 magazine racks. I want to get one to keep in my dressing room upstairs to keep fashion magazines in and just like things that inspire me creatively when it comes to getting dressed. But I'd also love to keep them in different sections of the house just to have something where people can grab something to read or be inspired or get creative. Even one for my coloring books would be cool. So I think that's the next thing I'm gonna start snagging in different iterations, you know, different fonts, because I want my house to inspire creativity when you walk in. In order to do that, we need to like have the tools out, you know? It's kind of like walking into my house, I want it to feel like an art studio with art supplies everywhere, and you can pick up and just start creating just by visiting. I think I'm gonna go ahead and sign myself up for a few magazine subscriptions so I get them every month. Like, I used to love doing stuff like that, and I don't want physical media to die because everything is so digital. Yeah, where's my phone? I'm about to sign myself up for a few magazine subscriptions. Where are we? Fashion. All right, you guys, let's start answering some of these questions. What's wild is I was answering these questions, but my camera was on that stupid setting that the Sony cameras have where the sound is completely gone. So I think that was just a sign that I needed to use wisdom in my answers. The first question I got, which multiple people asked me, how are you doing? I would say that I have days where I am amazing, I have days where I'm good, and I have days where it's kind of like a little up and down, just like anybody else. Living in a whole different state is an adjustment, and it's one I'm trying to get used to because, you know, there's just so many different things that I have to learn, like how to get around without navigation, the different places that there are to shop out here, like the culture in a different state is completely different. This is something that I think people in other countries don't understand about the US, is how big and diverse it is, that there's literally a culture for every single state. So it's just so much to learn. It's such a new environment. Sometimes it's a little bit overwhelming, but I will say having my mom out here definitely helps a lot. So I am good. I am definitely, actually I'm great. I'm great. And I have moments where I need to remind myself how blessed I actually am and make sure that I am continually operating in gratitude. So somebody else asked me, how is the South treating me? Do I miss LA? And how do I keep such a youthful appearance? Well, again, the South is a very different place, but I love it. I kind of feel like I was always destined to be a Southern girl. I love living in the South. I think that Houston specifically, which I don't know if you knew this, I didn't know this, that Houston is considered one of the most diverse places in the US. I think Texas in general, more specifically Houston, is nothing like what people who have never visited Texas think. It's extremely diverse and I love living out here. There's just so many different cultures. It's a lot like living in LA, I'm not gonna lie. I think that I don't miss LA, which I talked about this when I went back. I don't miss LA because as somebody who was born and raised in LA, I feel like there's certain places out here I can go to catch that LA vibe. And so I don't miss LA. I love the fact that in the South, especially again where I'm at, everything is so green. I love the greenery. I love all the trees. I love the open space. It just feels like I'm consistently in nature and I feel like I need that. It does something to my nervous system that immediately calms it down. So I love that about living in Texas. So yeah, all in all, I'm great. I love living in Texas. No, I don't miss LA. I miss my family and my friends in LA, but I don't actually miss being in LA. All right, let's find the syrup. Last time I was here, they had a bunch of them. Let's see if they have them down here. The thing I don't like is that in here, all they have is sugar-free syrup. I don't want sugar-free. Give me the sugar. I do need hazelnut. Wait, they also have brown butter toffee? I'm willing to try the Monin. And they have caramel. How handy was that? I thought I was gonna have to go online to get like the caramel and the vanilla and the hazelnut. And I was looking to pay like 40 bucks because I think that's how much the set costs. But I was able to get the Monin ones. And I think I do like the Monin syrup. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, the Monin syrup is actually healthier than the Tarani. All right, let's switch back to the other camera. The next question I got is, how are your children dealing with their new environment? I think that they're doing as well as can be expected. As you guys know, my younger daughter had a bit of a hard time at first, but she's doing great now. My son is still adjusting because, again, he grew up in California. All of his friends are out there. I think we're actually gonna let him do his senior prom in California versus out here, so he can do that with his friends that he grew up with. But he's doing well. I mean, he's adjusting. He said the culture of everything out here is different, so that's something that he's getting used to, but they're doing well. Somebody asked me, what did I do to lose the 50 pounds? I did a video on this already, so I would encourage you to check that out. Somebody asked me what my age is. I am 39. I don't know if I look 39, but I am in fact 39 years old. I feel like I must not look 39 because anytime I'm out with my daughter or my older kids and they call me mom, people like swing their head around so fast like they're gonna get whiplash, and nobody ever believes I'm my age. A lot of people assume I'm in my early 30s, and I've had some people assume I was in my late 20s, depending on whether or not I'm wearing makeup or not. But I feel like I look like 39. I don't know, what does a 39-year-old look like? I'm 39 years old. Another question I got is, will my daughter be moving to Texas? I don't know at this point. I mean, I want her to, obviously. I want to be close to her and my grandson. Also, if she moved out here, your girl's nails will be lit and done. but she is still finishing up what she has going on out there. She has a job, you know, just she's trying to get settled and like really figure out the direction she wants to go in. So it's a little bit too soon for her to make a decision to relocate, but we'll see. It's not like I haven't tried to convince her, but we will see. How did you get started as a vlogger, and how long have you been a vlogger, and then what is your major? So I have been doing YouTube for over 10 years. I have some really old videos y'all could go back and see. Started off on YouTube doing makeup. That's what everybody was doing at the time, but I really loved fashion. And when I did my big chop and I was doing my natural hair journey, I did document that a little bit, but I did my first fashion video and I could tell that everybody really loved it, and that was before fashion was even a thing on YouTube. Like, people were not doing fashion content on YouTube. And so I think my first video was about a capsule wardrobe, I believe. And then from there, I did a couple videos doing that. And then I just started thrifting. And at the time that I started thrifting, nobody was really doing thrift content. I think it was me and maybe Threads Obsessed, and there were a few others. I think even maybe Alexa and Carrie were also doing thrifting at that time, maybe. But I started doing thrifting content on YouTube like 10 years ago. So I think it's safe to say, and I would say I'm probably one of the original thrift YouTubers. So now it's like so trending and a lot of people are doing it, but I was doing it when it was not a thing. And I was also doing it when vlogging was not a thing. Like, vlogging your life was not a thing. So doing a thrift with me was really close to vlogging and like vlogging your day, you know? So I've been doing it for that long. And then as for my major is marketing. I feel like marketing goes really well with content creation and what I'm doing right now. So I feel like it was a great major to pick. I do get benefits to go to school because my husband was in the military, so that's also a thing for me. Like, might as well go to school while I can get a free education, you know? So that's what I'm doing right now, and that is my major. We're gonna do one more before I go in the store. This one said okay, I'm nosy. So here are a few topics. What happened to your best friend from California with the dreads and your sister? Do you see yourself going back to work within 3 to 5 years? Does your daughter want a little sister? Have you considered doing boxes again to pare down your closet? Girl, you got like 5 questions here. Okay, so first of all, I've been asked about this friend before. How can two walk together unless they agree? We hit a stage in our friendship where we were not in agreement, and sometimes when you are not in agreement, you kind of have to separate and go down different paths for a while. It doesn't mean that there's not love there. It doesn't mean I don't still love her and wish the absolute best for her. It's just that our lives are not in agreement right now. The way that we think and we feel is not in agreement right now, and sometimes it's better to take time apart rather than cause each other pain, more damage, you know, all of the things, than just like letting go and taking some time. So we do not talk anymore. You guys can stop asking me that question in my comments. I typically delete them because I didn't want to address it, but yeah, no. We are not currently talking or friends right now. And I'm assuming you're talking about my sister that I talked about, who was in the hospital with me and my dad. You guys got to understand, with her, I literally met her for the first time in person when my dad went into the hospital. So I didn't really know her that well at that point in time, and we have been talking on the phone, but like, it's really hard to know somebody just by talking on the phone. You get to know somebody better when you're consistently around them in their life and you see how they live their life. So at this point, we are still getting to know each other because I still don't know her that well and she doesn't really know me that well. So it's just developing. We didn't grow up together. It's something that takes time. And then, does your daughter want a little sister? Listen, I don't care if she wants a little sister. I'm done. I am done. Shop is closed. We are not having any more kids. And if nothing else convinced me that I was not having no more kids, it was having my grandson for the summer. Like, I'm good. I'm too old for this. I enjoy my freedom. I enjoy my brain not having any sounds in it. Like, no, we are not having no more kids. Done. Absolutely done. For the boxes, no, because to be quite honest, I don't feel like it. Yeah, I just don't feel like it. It's a lot of work, and I just want to get it all out at one time. So I don't think I'll be doing it. I don't foresee me changing my mind, but if I do, I'll let you know. But no, not doing any boxes. I am A-okay. And let's try to do one more. How do you deal with sibling conflict? I think this is just something to talk about, like conflict in general. Typically, me personally, I try to avoid it. If I feel like me and whoever I'm having conflict with cannot see eye to eye, or we cannot come to some sort of agreement, it's best to just part ways, because sometimes both parties need to do some growing before they could come back together and resolve any type of conflict. And I just think that's healthier than staying around and continuing to hurt each other. So when it comes to conflict, I will try to address it, but if it's not really going anywhere, then I just take time away until a better time comes to resolve it or deal with it, because sometimes I could be very like biting with my words, and I'm working on it, but I don't mean to be, but I can be a bit harsh and blunt and straight to the point, and sometimes it's very hurtful to the person I'm dealing with or having conflict with. And so I find that in order to not say things that I have to consistently apologize for, or say things that I'm like, dang, I didn't really want to say it that way, or I didn't mean to, but I said it because I was frustrated, it's better for me to take time away, calm down, get a little bit more grace in my system, and then try to deal with it if I feel like the situation can be resolved. So that's kind of how I deal with just conflict in general, sibling, friend, partner, whatever. My camera's about to overheat, so we're gonna go in the store, and then when I get back out, we are going to answer some more questions. Next question. Do you plan on going back to work after you finish school? Is this course in the same field? Have you found a church yet on your spiritual journey? And I'm glad you are gatekeeping. I wish more creators would. Thank you. Yes, first of all, I have found a church, and the church that I found I really love. I found it actually, randomly popped up on my feed as a recommended post in February, like just a month after we had been here. And so we looked it up, and it was literally right by where we live. And so I was like, oh, this is great. So we showed up, we went, and we loved it from the start. We actually joined that church, and I love it. I really, really love the church, and I'm happy that we found a church. And do I plan to go to work or back to work after I finish school? I don't know. Honestly, in me, I just can't imagine a world where somebody else is controlling my time anymore. I can't do it. I don't know. It's gonna be spirit-led if I end up back at work, because at this point, I don't know. I don't think so. And then I think I answered this question already, but I'm going to school for marketing. So it's similar to content creation. It's in the same arena. I think that's all of those questions. Let me see if there's any more, because I know that there was more coming up as I was doing this. This is more of a comment, but hey girl, hey. So I randomly came across your page. Glad I did. I live for a good thrift. Love your home decor videos the most. Thank you so much. This one's funny. How do you and your husband do the budget? Who is mostly in charge of finances? Are there any tips to share on that, or maybe just not your strong suit? Just curious how successful couples do it. Listen, my husband is in charge of paying the bills. I do not keep track of all of that because I feel like I would forget and the lights would get turned off. So my husband is in charge of like tracking and doing all the bills. Not to mention, I can tend to be a little fiscally irresponsible. And what I mean by that is I would never like go spend recklessly or irresponsibly so I don't pay bills, but I'm the type that's like, you want to go to the steakhouse and spend $250 on dinner? Sure, YOLO, we got it, let's go do it. Because I have kind of had my life work out in a way where anytime I've ever needed something, my needs have always been fulfilled. I have never gone without. I have never, it's like that scripture, the righteous have never been forsaken. So if anything has ever happened seriously and I've needed help, my husband has needed help, we've needed help, we've always been able to have God come through in one way or another. So I don't really worry in that way. Now my husband's a little bit different. He does get a little bit more stressed. Could be because he's the one paying the bills. I don't know. We've done it both ways, where I've done it before and he's done it before, and while we both can do it, I like to let him do it because I feel like as the head of our house, and if it's something he wants to do, sure, go ahead. At this point in time, I'm the one who has a more inconsistent income because of like what I do, and he's the one with a more consistent income, so it just makes more sense for him to manage everything right now anyway. But yeah, I am trying to get better because I'm definitely a YOLO type, and if I want something, I will figure out a way to get it. So yeah, he handles the bills though, and I would say that I am not the person to ask for your financial advice. I'm not. Like, I do my best and I'm good, and you know, I don't go without. However, it's by the grace of God, not by my good sense, I promise you. Okay, so here is a longer one, and I'll answer this one as we drive home. My question is, how do you as a content creator deal with the consumption of stuff but still make videos? I know it's hard because this is mainly what your channel is about. I just often wonder when the overconsumption videos get high ratings. I do see a lot of closet clean out videos, but months later, most content creators are showing and telling you what the latest new trends are or what we need in our wardrobe for fall. Just curious. I love thrifting, but I'm really trying to wear the things I have. Really starting to get overwhelmed with stuff. I also live in a seasonal state. Girl, I feel you, okay? Can I just say that you're not the only one that feels this way. Hold on, let me get out this spot. We're not trying to crash on the way. I definitely had to have a come to Jesus moment with myself, which is why my content had to change, because I just could not continue to keep thrifting. There was no room for anything, and I didn't need anything. I didn't want for anything. So it was just like thrifting just for the sake of thrifting so that I would have a video. It just didn't feel right. And I also did not feel good about that being what I was promoting, which was overconsumption. And even now I still kind of like struggle with that. As you guys know, I have lost a lot of weight. There are a lot of things in my closet that I cannot really fit. A lot of my videos over the last 2 months have been very shopping focused and fashion focused because I'm literally building my wardrobe back up again. When it comes to stuff like that, I personally am going into my closet a lot before I go to buy trends to see what I actually already own, because you don't need the exact thing that's new for that season. If you have something that is an iteration of it or it gives the same vibe, you really don't need to get anything else. You need to figure out how to wear that thing that you already have and reimagine it. Another thing I love to do is when I find that something is not really working for me in my closet anymore, or I'm not reaching for it, I look at it and I try to figure out ways that I could alter it or get it taken in or take it to the tailor or something to make it something I love. And I've done that with quite a few things, as you guys have seen. I just did a video on this and I showed a jacket that I was not wearing and I just chopped the bottom, added some detail to it, and I wear it all the time now. So for me, I would rather take pieces I have and alter them into new pieces that nobody is gonna have than go shopping, because I feel like repurposing things I already have, I'd rather spend money on that. But you just really have to be intentional about the message that you want to send, which I try to be as much as possible. And also, at the end of the day, if people don't want to watch me because I'm not constantly consuming, then that's not my audience, that's not my tribe anyway. I would rather weed out the people that are not for me by doing what is authentically me and staying true to myself, so that the people that remain are the ones that actually should remain, versus trying to people please and satisfy an audience that will never be satiated, because there's no way that you could satisfy everybody, you know? So that's kind of how I deal with it, and it is a struggle. I'm not gonna lie, it's a struggle, but I still try to do my best with being intentional and not being gluttonous and not being wasteful, because I went through my phase of super gluttony when it came to fashion and overconsumption and just like a monster, more. I went through that. It's just more frustrating than anything else, because then when you go to your closet, it's so packed or overstuffed that you can't even really see or enjoy the things that you already have. That's just like my little hot take on that. You got to do what's best for you and don't try to keep up with the Joneses. Like, you don't need to keep up with anybody. You got to get to the point where you're satisfied with your portion and just like leave it at that. I am working on being grateful, having a grateful heart, being grateful for the things that I have, and being satisfied with what's for me and what I already have, because we don't always need more. And some of my best memories when it comes to fashion come from a time where I had to get so creative because I couldn't afford to have everything that I wanted. Creativity is born out of necessity. So that's my answer to that question. Which family members came to Texas who stayed in California? How do you store your wardrobe overflow that does not fit into your beauty room? Give us an update on your home decor. I will do an updated home decor video just so you guys can kind of see like what's new, because I do need to like I need to do that. I do need to do that. But my family members, so my mom is here, my mom and dad are here, my cousin and his wife and his kids are here. Obviously they were the ones that helped us, but also more recently my aunt and her husband bought a house here. So I have a parent and an aunt that's here, and I truly think that my brother is sure to follow soon. And I do think that I might even get a few more cousins out of it. So we'll see. It's kind of like so interesting to make a choice that changes the trajectory not only of your life, but like other people's lives that are attached to you. How do you know when God is talking to you? Well, let me tell you something about that. It wasn't always the easiest thing. I'm gonna be honest. It was one of those things that I had to really be intentional about. But for me, I know it's not the same for everybody. For me, I feel extremely lucky because I dream. And I know that God deals with me a lot in my dreams or in my day-to-day tasks. So when I'm doing things like gardening and some of the different things that I have to do to make sure that plant is successful or there's no pests or things grow, like those are all things where I can start to hear it's like God speaks to me in thoughts. There have been times where I've heard the audible voice of God, but a lot of times it is very, very strong trains of thought that answer questions that there's no way I can have the answer to because I didn't know it before the thought came, if that makes any sense. So for example, recently I had put my grapevine in the backyard into the ground because it was in a pot. It was literally dying. And it was twigs, y'all. It had like 4 leaves. I was like, I don't know if this is gonna come back. So I put it in, and now it's completely full of beautiful new bright green leaves and growth. And when I watched it come back to life, I heard the Lord tell me the things you try to keep contained and out of its natural environment are the things you have to work the hardest to keep alive. But when you put things where they are supposed to go, that environment will naturally feed it and it causes it to flourish and grow. Did I even think about this or know this beforehand? No. Like I never thought about things that way. But the second I saw the grapevine coming back and God talks about, you know, the vine and the branches in the word, it's like that revelation hit. So I would say first and foremost, you have to read your word in order to know when God's talking to you because his voice sounds like his word. There are times where I have dreams and the dream is like a scripture. Like I had a dream where as soon as I woke up, I heard the scripture in my mind and I knew, oh, that's what God was trying to tell me. So in order to know God's voice, you have to first know his word because his word is his voice. And God oftentimes uses his word or principles within his word to speak to you. So if something that you're hearing does not line up with anything that you can find in the word, chances are it's not God speaking to you. You have to be able to find that thing in the word. You will always be able to find something that God told you, some principle or some example of it in the word. You will always be able to, I promise you. I promise you, some of the most random things that I'm like, there's no way this is in the Bible. I go, it's there. And that's how I know, because it's like, there's no way I could have known that. There is no way. You guys, if I could even explain to you the amount of information that I know, that there is no way I could have known it other than by the Holy Spirit. Like I could tell you some stories that will freak you out, okay? You have to read the word to know God's voice because it will always line up, it will always match, and the word sounds like his voice. Denise has been with me for a minute. I always see her face, her little icon, and I recognize her. She says, I have been subscribed for years since baby was actual baby. She has been subscribed to me since Azzy was a baby in a stroller thrifting with me in Thrift With Me videos. So Denise, I love you, girl. Thank you for your support over the years. I always love seeing your comments, and she always sends me very detailed comments. She says, I see most have covered my current questions and it surrounds the family and the move. I see that grandbaby I'm just getting tongue-tied. I see that grandbaby pop up on the videos. You mentioned that mom and dad would possibly be moving. How has the move affected the distance for your family and your hubbies? What's your plan for the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas? And then this is how you know she's been subscribed to me for a while. Since God gifted you with a singing voice, can you share the ministry, even if you sneak it in the background on your video? I think she's trying to say, for some kind of reason, I feel it happening. So Yes, I do sing. And anybody who's been following me for any length of time will sometimes see vlogs where I'm just like singing or humming to myself in the car. Or I think I did this video like where I was talking about all of my favorite gospel songs and I was like singing clips of all of them. I don't even know what I titled that video, but it's in the vlogs under season 24 last year. Yeah, so I do sing. Girl, I don't know. You gotta just kind of catch me when you catch me. But I think I answered this question as far as like the move affecting the family and all of that. But for Christmas, we're probably going to be here, and even Thanksgiving, because my uncle who recently passed, Thanksgiving was always at their house, and my aunt is not up to do it this year. So Thanksgiving will not be at their house. We're probably gonna do Thanksgiving here. Plus me and my husband, we know how to cook, both of us, my husband and I, we both know how to cook a full Thanksgiving meal. So we'll probably do Thanksgiving at our house and invite family over or anybody who wants to come hang out. And then if anything should happen on Christmas or we want to go out to California for Christmas, we will. But we've also been thinking about traveling for one or both holidays just to kind of like utilize that time to see the world a little bit. So we'll see. 4 questions left. What is the 3 items in your closet that make you squill with joy? Honestly, I can't just name 3. That would be like so wrong. It's like picking a favorite child, but I'll pick categories. All of my fur coats. I love a good fur coat. Y'all know all of my leather coats. Love good leather. We love a good leather. And I do truly love my bag and my shoe collection, for real. Like my coats, my jackets, my bags, my shoes. Like I could replace any of the other things, like clothing items, but like when it comes to like my outerwear, my shoes and my accessories, those things to me make my closet. And I think if you could only keep 5 items from your fashion closet, what would they be? Same answer. Like I can't even answer that. So that's kind of like the answer to both of those. Where did you thrift to get all those amazing items in Los Angeles, California? I would like to go try to thrift some items, especially those leather jackets. Thank you in advance. The only thrift store I'm willing to not gatekeep is Hope of the Valley. Go to Hope of the Valley, see what you can find there. They're a really good thrift store. But as far as everybody else, we already know Jillian's gatekeeping. Y'all not getting my free promo when you price things like you have lost your mind. What's the last challenge you and your husband faced and how did you grow closer from it? That's a really good question. Honestly, I wouldn't say it's a specific challenge, so to speak. I would say it's more specifically a category of something. So like, for instance, one of the things, and I think women in general, as a wife, we struggle with this because God gives the wife a lot of wisdom to aid and like support her husband. It's in Proverbs 8. Read all of that. That's the wife's role in her husband's life, is wisdom, right? But with that being said, sometimes it can be hard to submit to your husband. And submission has been a big challenge for me because I am very strong-willed, stubborn. I can be pushy, not gonna lie. I like what I like. I want what I want. I like things a certain way. And so it can come off as very dominating, right? So having a husband and that I have to submit to has been a challenge. And sometimes it's like, oh, you're about to make this decision. I don't think that's gonna go well. But then it's like the husband fighting to make the decision. And you like, well, I don't think it's the best decision. And you just like fighting back and forth to try to get them to not make that decision. But the truth of the matter is we all have to learn. Like we all have to try and sometimes fail in order to learn. And some of our greatest pieces of wisdom come from failure. So you cannot sometimes prevent the failure or prevent the chaos of something happening, because maybe in that case your husband has to learn. And that's the thing about being married and being one. Sometimes you have to suffer the consequences of your husband's actions so he will learn. Unpopular opinion, but it just is what it is. Like you have to give them some grace to mess up and then be there to help them put it back together. And it's why a lot of marriages don't work, because some women are not able to do it. And listen, you know, it was a struggle for me, but I have learned that having my husband make decisions for our family that I don't always agree with, sometimes they work out and I'm just like, I would never have thought this would have worked out. And he gets a level of confidence and accomplishment from it, right? Sometimes they don't work and he has to humble himself and come back to me like, babe, I need your help fixing this because you were right. It didn't work out. in marriage, there's a lot of humbling yourself. And when it comes to conflict, both parties, they have to humble themselves. So sometimes I've had to suffer consequences for actions and things that he's done. But in the suffering of those consequences and him seeing how it's affecting the family, he's had to learn and figure out different ways to resolve things or do things or come together with me to figure things out, because he's not trying to hurt his family. And the same goes for me. I've had to do the exact same thing. I've made decisions. It's like, dang, I didn't mean for that to happen that way, or my bad, I'm sorry, or I didn't think that this would, you know, work out this way, or whatever. Like, it goes both ways. So I think that learning to trust each other's judgment is something that has brought us a lot closer, but also learning to give each other grace and letting each other have the space to mess up and fix it. That's just what marriage is about. I'm sorry if you thought it was going to be rainbow sunshine and always agreeing with each other, but it's not. Sometimes you will suffer the consequences for your partner's actions. It just is what it is. You give them grace, you let them learn, and you help them fix it. That's my advice for that, and that's how we kind of handle things. So yeah, I think that is all the questions that I got on this video. All the groceries are in. I'm about to start dinner, and tomorrow we will make margaritas. So I think I'm gonna end up having 2 videos this week, even though I felt like initially starting this I had nothing to say and y'all wasn't getting not even 1 video. Look at how that works. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys know, but I appreciate all of your questions, those who got your questions in time. And if you have more questions, leave them in the comments. Maybe I'll do another one, or maybe I'll do the same thing I did and just post a short so you guys can know that I'm doing a Q&A and get your questions in. But I love you guys so much. I do. I appreciate you. And if you enjoyed this video, you can definitely hype it. That's a new feature one of you guys told me about. I actually knew that it was coming. I just didn't know that it was on my videos yet. So if you love this video, hype it up. You can hype it, I think, up to 3 times, and it will just put it in a new algorithm for people who have never seen me before to discover me. So I love you guys so much for your support. Thank you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.